Who's ready for some football? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Ken Johnson. So we're getting towards the end of football season, but there's still some games left, and I figured tailgating is still going on. Why don't we do shish kebabs? So in Northwest Florida, shish kebabs are a thing. They're a big thing. Lumpia's a thing. So if you like, that's just something that we do is lumpia a lot. We do shish kebabs a lot. This is not a tried and true recipe that I have that I'm just doing. What it is that I had two different recipes, and one there was a conflict over which one is the real recipe. And so during this video, I'll switch out and I'll actually add elements to the other. But they're basically the same recipe, but there's some small changes, some tweaks. I just wanted to warn you that. So I'm trying to adjust for this recipe and have something that I can do that is back from my childhood. Alright, in a pot I have 2 cups of pineapple juice. Now I'm using Libby brand because that's all I could get. Dole is traditional. It has a canned tinny taste to it. Libby's doesn't, but it's sweeter too. So just realize it may vary a little bit based off of the brand you use. Now I'm pouring in a 1/2 cup of lemon juice. Now, with the lemon juice, if you wanted to add another 1/4 to a 1/2 cup of Sprite to this, you could. That's totally fine. It would enhance that lemon lime flavor a little bit. You could even possibly do a little less lemon juice and a little bit, do like a 50-50, 1/4 cup lemon juice, 1/4 cup Sprite. I've seen that done before, but I'm not going to put Sprite in this one. I'm just doing straight lemon juice. This right here is a 1/3 cup of soy sauce. This is a good quality Thai soy sauce. Now I'm adding in 3 tablespoons of firmly packed brown sugar. I'm using dark brown sugar into this. You can tell it's firmly packed because it don't want to come out. There we go. Now I'm putting in 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire Sauce. This is Lea & Perrins. This right here is 1 teaspoon of MSG. This right here is a teaspoon of quality paprika. The squirrels are back. This right here is a teaspoon of McCormick brand ground mustard. The next thing we're tossing in is 1/3 cup finely diced green bell pepper. Okay, we're going to bring this to a boil, and then after we get it to a boil, we'll then turn off the heat and jizz it up a little bit with the immersion blender, and then we'll strain it through a sieve and let it cool. We're now hitting it with the immersion circulator, or immersion blender, sorry. So I want to talk a little bit about shopping. Alright, so this right here is a Boston butt. This is a small Boston butt. Comes pre-packaged from the meat packer and goes straight to the grocery store, and they sell it like this. Every time that the grocery store makes a cut, they charge extra money. So what I find to be interesting is that my grocery store, they're charging about $5 a pound for pork if it's a Boston butt. This is a Boston butt. So what they do is they take the big Boston butts, cut them in half, and sell them at $5 a pound. Now this is a smaller Boston butt, but roughly about the same size. Now, look how much I paid. I paid $1.56 a pound. So this Boston butt cost me $10.64 for 6.82 pounds. That's the thing about it. You need to shop around and look at what you're buying. Most people don't look at what they're buying. So if you want to me do a video on how to shop and get the most bang for your buck, how to read labels, all that, let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to do one of those videos. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this meat up. Whenever you're cutting up meat, you first need to look at a few things. You need to understand where the cut is on the animal, and you need to understand which way your grains are going, how you're going to work this. So this right here, a Boston butt, is basically the shoulder of the hog, and this is a cross cut of the shoulder blade. If you order pork steaks in the grocery store, a lot of times what they'll do is that they'll cut it, they'll cut this way and make steaks, and this is the side you see as the steak. All right, and so that's what a lot of places refer to as pork steak. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and debone this out and get that bone out of it. Okay, so now I've taken the bone out. It really wasn't that hard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and cut this like steaks. And then after I cut this like steaks, then I'm going to cut these probably into, now this is a little bone piece right here that I found off the side. So I'm going to be looking for little stray bone fragments. But as I cut this, I'm going to cut into pieces about an inch thick. And then from there, we'll cut those down. I want strips of meat that are about an inch thick, maybe 2 inches long max. Because I do not put vegetables on my shish kebabs. Now, I was talking with a gentleman the other day, and we were having a discussion. It was a very friendly discussion. It wasn't heated or nothing, but that's a piece of cartilage. You always try to get those little pieces off. So look very carefully at your meat. But he was contending that putting vegetables on shish kebabs is perfectly fine. I contended that the meat does not cook as good. And the vegetables and the meat, they cook at different temperatures. They have different reactions. So I like to cook all my meat on a skewer separately from the vegetables. That's how I like to do it. You're doing the cooking. You do it any way you wish. That's the thing about these days now. You got all these talking heads that claim to be experts, and they want to tell you how to live your life. Cook it the way you want it. I prefer to cook my meat all together on a skewer. So that's how I'm showing. But if you want to put vegetables on yours, put vegetables on yours. You have that right. It's your food. You can do what you want with it. Okay, we've got the meat cut up. Now it's time to take some looks at things. Now, I love fat. I believe fat is flavor. That is something that you need to always consider. But you look at this. This right here, nobody wants a big giant blob of fat. So what I'm going to do is actually cut off some of that fat. I'm probably going to trim it right about there. The rest of that fat right there, that will go into sausage. We'll have some, but not much. I may cut off that little tag there as well. That's trimmed off. Don't worry about that fat trim. We'll put that in the freezer and use that for a later video, probably a sausage video. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of make cuts like this and just kind of get pieces that will be good to put on a skewer. Here we go here. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Just little 1 inch by 1 inch little pieces. That fits real good. You know, it goes about a little bit past the knuckle of my thumb in length and thickness. And this will go perfectly on a skewer. So this will go into a container and we'll go from there. Alrighty, out of that Packers grade Boston butt, I've got about 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of fat saved for sausage. In a 2-gallon zip top bag, I have the rest cut up into pieces for skewering. Just make sure when you're cutting that you try to look at the grain and make sure you're cutting across the grain as much as possible so that you got as tender a bite. But again, you're cutting into almost cubes, but you're going to have one end that's thinner than the other just slightly, and so therefore you want to cut across the grain so that the most tender bite is, or a person has the most tender bite possible. Now it's time to sieve out our marinade. There's all the solids from the marinade, and here's the strained out marinade ready to put into our pork solution, or our bag of pork. With these zip top bags, main thing that you need to do is make sure you get the air out of them, and like with any of the other marinades I do, just shake them around every 2-3 times a day at least. And this has got to set for 3 days. Alright, so this right here will go into the refrigerator and it will sit for 3 days. I'll just pick it up every so often, 2, 3, 4 times a day, 5 times a day, whatever, and just kind of shake it up and move it about, flip it over, and that's it. See you in 3 days. Alright, I got to looking at my shish kebab recipe and was thinking that some stuff was off. I noticed that Sprite wasn't in there, and I know I always put Sprite in mine. And the person I got the recipe from, evidently I omitted not only the Sprite, but the garlic. And that's the reason why my marinade didn't look right. So I'm going to go ahead, this is day 2. I'm going to take a half can of Sprite and a tablespoon of granulated garlic, and I'm going to go ahead and boil that up real quick and let it cool. So this is 6 ounces, or roughly about 175, 180 milliliters. Actually, I just poured the whole can in there, so it's going to be 355 milliliters and 12 ounces. What the heck, it really don't matter that much. Okay, so that is 1 can, 12 ounces, or 355 milliliters of Sprite in here. This is 1 tablespoon of granulated garlic going in. Now we're going to bring it to a boil and let it cool down before we add it to our mixture. Alright, this to a boil, now we're going to turn it on. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and add the Sprite with garlic in here. I know that I said 3 days, but things have changed, and it'll probably be another 2 days before I get a chance to even test this out. This is day 2, so it'll be probably about a 5 or 6 day soak. Way things have been going lately, can't change it. Plans have been changing constantly, so you adjust. Good thing about this is that the longer it marinades, the more tender it gets. And it's in a refrigerator, so it's okay. Alright, I got a lot of air in here. That's so I can shake it up. I want to mix it up good. We'll let the air out of the zip top bag and lay it flat. And it'll just stay in the refrigerator, and we'll keep turning, shaking up best we can every so often. I probably do my skewers differently than most people. What I do is I put them in some boiling water, let them sit for about 15 minutes, and then they're good to go. You don't have to do that all day soak when you use boiling water. That's the reason why I like using it. While the skewers are boiling and the coals are getting hot, I'm going to cut up some onion and bell pepper. I'm going to put them on skewers. Actually, I'm going to throw these into the marinade that had the pork. Just let them sit in a little bit, and then I'll actually roast them separately on skewers, because your vegetables, they come off differently than your pork will. There's the pork right there, and the vegetables are in the bag marinating. Time to get the coals going. Alright, these kebabs are on right now. I'm going to close this and let them get hot. Alrighty, we're rocking out at about 250 degrees, more or less, Fahrenheit. These are looking good. I'm going to turn them over. With these, you'll get some flare-ups, so you got to manage that. Stay on top of it, but there you go. Now I'm going to get the veggies on, and we'll be done. Now it's time to add on the veggies. Alright, the veggies are on the grill. Alright, it's rocking around 320 degrees, going down just a little bit. Had some flare-ups even with the vegetables, because I cannot lower my coals. This is a fixed system, so whenever you got a grill or a barbecue or smoker, you've got to be able to manage your fire the best you can. And each system is unique, and there is no perfect setup, so you've got to manage it the best way you can with what you got. And right in the center here, we do have a hot spot, and these right on the sides are not near as hot, so I'm probably going to take these center 3 out, maybe the center 4, probably center 3, and then we'll move them about some more. I will note that I did put a log on early on with a few coals, and that's just to add some smoke. Of course, I always use Chinese tallow wood, also known as popcorn tree, or if you're in Louisiana, I think they call it chicken fence wood or chicken wood. Anyway, it's an invasive tree in Florida, and best thing to do with it is eat it. So we use it as smoke, and makes fantastic flavors for your grilled and smoked meats. Alright, we're at about 350 degrees, and time to see how this is doing. Oh man, nice and smoky and warm, not flaring up. I like that, which you don't get a lot of flare up on vegetables, but we do have some hot spots on this grill. I'm going to flip these over, keep working on them, cook them at a good temperature. That one right there in the middle here, third from the right, it should be about ready, and then the others will be almost ready. Here we go, finished shish kebabs. Now for these right here, what you can do is put them in a gallon bag, just with a little bit of water, freeze them, and you can use them next time. I hope you enjoyed that video. As I said before in the beginning of the video, this is me trying to standardize a recipe. That this is actually 2 different recipes, roughly about the same, but a little different. Both of them claiming to be the original, but whatever. I'm trying to standardize it. I like Libby's pineapple juice to drink, but I don't like Libby's in this recipe. Dole pineapple juice is too acidic, too tinny. It's got too many off flavors to drink, but it would be perfect in this recipe, and I think that's what they used. So in the future, when I revisit this, I'm going to use Dole, and if Dole works, I'll do another video and I'll show you my final recipe. But if you got a recipe that you like for shish kebabs and a marinade and you like it, whatever, let me know. share it with me. I'll give it a shot. May even do a video, give you credit naturally, and we can go from there. At any rate, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.